Welcome to another episode of Murder Dictionary Podcast. My name is Brianna, and over there is Kelly.
Hey.
Before we get started, we wanted to remind you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you haven't left an iTunes review, we would really appreciate if you would leave an iTunes review as well. If you've already left one, we would like to thank you at the end of the show, so stay tuned and we will read those off at the end. We definitely want to thank you. Anyone that leaves a review, we want to give you a shout out.
Give us 20 stars.
Whatever setting you can change to just up the star level, just crank it up to 11.
Need some hackers in there. 1,000,000 stars.
Calling all hackers. The description and show notes for this episode will have timestamps for whenever there's something super violent, because this story tonight is going to deal with the occult murders, some vampire stuff. It's going to get bloody, so I definitely have the timestamps in there so that you can skip over whatever parts are particularly gruesome or disturbing. In the show notes, I'll also have the research materials and links for articles that I used for tonight. So if you want to read more on the story, you can click those links and read a little bit more. And as always, I will include information for resources for victims in the show notes. So if you want a domestic violence helpline, suicide hotline, child protective services, any mental health resources or anything like that, there's some anti-bullying stuff. We've got a bunch of links in the show notes to make it easy for you to utilize those resources. Before I shout out our new patrons, I also wanted to say thank you to anyone that has posted pictures of the merch you got.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Rad to see the merch and where you're putting it. And, you know, unless it's a dick pic, because we've got some condoms, so please no dick pics, thank you.
It's a perfect fit.
Why is that true crime condom so loose? You like tie it at the end and use it again?
Reusable condoms. That's so eco-friendly of you.
Right? Go green. So we appreciate seeing those pictures. It's been really awesome, and it makes my day. Every time a picture pops up, I'm like, oh my God, it's us.
Yeah, same here. Oh my God, people like it.
Right?
They're like super happy about it.
Yeah.
That makes us happy.
Yeah, I'm stoked. So thank you so much. We really, really appreciate that. It's really been brightening my every day.
Yeah, and way to go to you, Brianna. You fucking killed the merch again.
Thanks.
I know I cried about it last time, but I'm not going to cry this time. But you did. I'm not going to cry.
Keep it together. You got this, bro.
You did great.
Thanks, man. I love that everybody's loving it. So I appreciate that everybody's been showing the pictures. It's been really awesome. This week we have a few new supporters on Patreon that we wanted to thank. The first one is Esther from Once Upon a Crime.
What?
If you guys aren't listening to Esther, you totally should be, because she's awesome. I would recommend starting out with her music series where she did episodes on Marvin Gaye and Kurt Cobain. She did some Tupac and Biggie ones.
Ooh.
So definitely check those out. Those are my recommendation. But I mean, really, you can't go wrong when it comes to her podcast.
Yeah, it's a great podcast.
Once Upon a Crime, check it out. And we also have Patreon support from Amber, James, Michael, and then Nikki edited her Patreon support to go higher. So thank you, Nikki, again, a second time. Thank you.
Nikki, did you get a raise?
Get in, Nikki. Make that paper.
Guys. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Thanks so much, you guys. We really appreciate your support, and we're going to be sending out merch to you guys soon. Mm-hmm. So thanks again. And I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Enough of the biz nasty, down to the story.
Oh, I love the biz nasty. Let's do it again. I'm not finished.
So tonight we have a short story and a little game that I have for you.
Woo! I'm gonna fucking win. Am I playing myself? Because that's my favorite competitor.
You are. It's gonna be awesome.
Not that I don't love kicking your ass, but it's so fulfilling when it's my own ass. It's called self-improvement.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Be the best I can be.
So tonight we have one more occult murder. And this one kind of represents a little bit more of the typical crimes that you see in this occult kind of category, where it's Satanism and goth kids.
Yeah, they just blended it real well, right? Like, is that a blend? I didn't know. I was like, wait, I thought goth kids are different, relatively harmless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. Relatively harmless. However, that's a large portion of what you see for occult crimes.
Hi, that's crazy.
It's just like these little, wearing all black, kind of white makeup, goth kids that believe in Satan.
I fucking love all of that. Like, I don't get I love really light makeup. I love black. Like,
I know. I don't know how this isn't you.
yeah, no, but just how do people go from like, chilling to fucking wrong?
I know. I mean, I think there's signs from the beginning. It starts off early, but yeah, definitely the majority of these occult crimes, it's going to be these small one-off cases where it's goth kids. The cases we covered in the previous couple weeks took kind of occult, like with an O, ideals, and then formed a cult out of it. And it was kind of a larger group or movement. But the majority of cases that I come across are these one-off ones like we're going to cover tonight, where it's just a couple of goth kids, a couple of Satanists, or whatever it may be that come together, or one acting alone, just doing a one-off, one-time murder. So that's the majority of what I've seen. Cool?
Yeah, cool. I was going to say, yeah, like the last couple of cases, it also seemed too that their parents had like a big role in it, where teaching them and like brainwashing them. And then they built off that. And like how you were saying, they were into the occult and then gathered followers based on that ideology.
Absolutely.
And then something bigger happened from that. So
I think it did play a big part, the role of the parents, that kind of fueled this narcissism and this feeling that the whole world revolved around them and their beliefs, which allowed them to have the confidence to just collect followers.
Yeah.
But with the one that's going to be tonight, it's just a couple, and they're just doing it together. So it's a little bit smaller scale, but they didn't have that influence of the parents kind of fueling them with these narcissistic ideas.
On the same wavelength, I was listening to another podcast. I was listening to Page 7, and they were talking about how the names of kids like King Cairo from like the celebrities and Saint West, and how these names would affect you in the way you're thinking to be like, I'm a king. Like, I'm this. I want to see how those kids are going to grow
Marcus
up.
said King Cairo would never have a summer job.
Exactly. Jackie said that just need to get a scarab tattoo on that kid right away.
Wear gold all the time.
Yeah. Exactly. Like that. I mean,
as you treat your children a certain way, and the name is part of how you treat a child and how you raise them and how society treats them.
Exactly.
If they have these things kind of pumped into them that they're just larger than life or bigger and better than other people, they're going to start acting that way.
I hope they become philanthropists.
Right?
Yeah,
best case scenario.
I thought that was a weird tie, and I want to see how that's going to grow and mold. Like a name can mold, an ideology at a small age can mold someone into doing crazy things in their life. So,
yep.
Yeah. See how that pans out. Let's just check in the next 15 years.
Right. Absolutely. So tonight we're going to talk about Daniel and Manuela Ruda. Manuela was born in 1979 in a small industrial German town. She grew up in a stable middle-class home with both of her parents, which is unique to a lot of murders, You don't hear that a lot. Manuela was a quiet and introverted only child who loved animals. She had a seemingly normal childhood, which is why her parents were extremely shocked when she suddenly became moody and dark. At age 13, she started listening to punk and metal music, then began changing her fashion choices to fit a more goth aesthetic. It's just my opinion that that's what you're supposed to do at 13.
What else?
Call me crazy. In fact, I would venture to say that I never really grew out of that. I still wear all black, and my hair has never been normal in the past, 20 years.
And you listen to punk.
Right. Yeah, I never grew out of that stuff. Not only did she look different, but she also became more combative and began exhibiting odd behavior. She began picking fights with people and biting passing pedestrians on the street. Me too. No.
Yeah, just a little nibble.
I mean, they just look very scrumptious. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
It's the best pickup line ever. You look good enough to eat.
Exactly. Just taking it to this logical conclusion.
There was something on your shoulder. I saved you from the bee.
Her parents took her to be evaluated by a psychiatrist, but her diagnosis and treatment is unknown. Even though she had begun working with a psychiatrist, her outbursts did not improve. In fact, her symptoms seemed to worsen, and she began having hallucinations and hearing voices.
Brianna, what would you say that would be? Was that is like schizophrenic? Like biting people is just like someone just needs to slap that kid, right? Like stop it.
Bad parenting.
You just get a water bottle like a cat. And
yes.
You just
stop it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm so bad with I feel weird attaching diagnoses to people. You know, and part of me thinks because it got worse when she went to the psychiatrist, maybe did they give her a bad medication?
Yeah.
And it kind of triggered something in her that, especially in early development as a child, as an early teenager, maybe it sparked something in her that caused her to be a little bit more combative and violent, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to blame the music.
It's definitely punk. It's definitely punk rock, for sure. Manuela even claimed to be in direct contact with Satan. She became hopeless that her mental health would improve, and she sunk into a deep depression. Manuela abandoned her studies and hobbies, then began using drugs. Eventually, she overdosed but survived the ordeal and decided to make some drastic changes. This is the point where most people would just get clean. You know,
yeah, that's what the changes are, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. But turn over a new leaf.
If you just figured out that you could talk to Satan, why would you want to kill yourself? Wouldn't that be like your goal? Like,
right. All I want to do is talk to Satan.
Here he is.
All the time. You know, did your parents ever catch you on the phone really late at night?
Oh my God. Like, get off the phone. You can hear him click.
Imagine if you were talking to Satan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course you wouldn't want to die. You're just like, what's up, Satan? How you doing?
You used to call me on my hell phone. Late night when I need some Satan. Call me on my hell phone. I like your dance.
Those are my best bad dad Drake dance moves.
That's good.
Some sweater vest dance moves. Oh my goodness. That's my new favorite song. It's going to be in my head all week. At only 16, she decided to leave home and explore the UK. She settled in London and got a job at a goth club called Slimelight that only stayed open from midnight to sunrise. I like what they did with that name. It's like Limelight. I like Slimelight. I imagine that everything's day glow on the inside. There's just slime coming down the walls.
Yeah, I think everything's sticky, right?
Yeah, I'm into it.
Oh.
While working at the goth club, she realized that she wanted to become a vampire and got what she called an apprenticeship under an experienced vampire. Are there levels to this? Like, apparently, do you move up? Like,
I'm a stage 3 vampire.
Right? She said that through the club and the scene, she met many men that were taken by her and eagerly offered their blood to her. She referred to these fanboys as her blood donors. I get creeped out by blood. Are you that person too? You like medical stuff.
I like medical, but the fact that it really bothers me that she's getting unknown people, like,
man, that's what I was thinking through this whole story is like the amount of bloodborne diseases she must have. It just made my stomach turn the whole time I was researching this.
I might ask you for some blood because I know you.
Because you know where I've been.
Yeah, exactly.
All over your face, all over your tits.
That's safe enough for me, okay? I've been there. I've climbed that peak.
But yeah, she's going to a bunch of randos just getting blood.
Hey, I see you have a lot of blood in you.
You look real plump with blood right now.
I want to toss some of that my way.
That's just too disgusting for me. I can't handle it. Mm-mm. Manuela also attended bite parties where partygoers would drink blood by biting all parts of the body except the jugular because that was strictly forbidden.
You have to bite fucking hard. Have you been bit by something or hit by someone where you're like, that didn't break the skin?
I know.
Like, how does that not? And it's just a really bad bruise, but it takes a lot to break the skin.
Be aggressive.
Oh, you're saying I should just try harder.
Right,
okay.
Yeah, you got this. I believe in you. Yeah, seriously. They just must be going hard at them veins. But also, I was thinking the jugular must be like the forbidden fruit that all of them want to get into. That's, you know,
they get
it's like the butthole for vampires.
I wonder if they like have like a nice like fromage with their with their blood. Like, you know, Gouda goes real great, like really well with Steve. You know,
Gouda and Steve. After learning from the goth and vampire scenes in London, Manuela relocated to Scotland, where she got a job as a hotel maid. I imagine these people, I think I said this last time, like, how do you go from being this goth vampire princess at night to just cleaning up cum off of hotel rooms during the day, you know? Like, I imagine these people in their day jobs. How do you do that?
Maybe it's like a really dark castle in Scotland,
Maybe.
and it's really creepy, and maybe she's cleaning up
It's pretty gloomy
bloodstains
there, right? Right.
She's just squeezing out like squeegeing out sheets and stuff to get a drop.
Since she was in a new city, she would go online to find men to practice her vampirism with. She soon learned of a man named Tom Leppard, who was in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most tattooed man in the world.
Until 2006.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Or 4, I don't know, one of those.
Yeah, I think it was 2006, and then he died in 2016.
Aww.
Yeah, he looked like a real leopard.
I
Did
saw
you
the
see
picture,
pictures of him?
yeah.
Yeah, skinny little leopard man with his little thong.
He was like on a rock or something, like next to the
perched
ocean.
on a rock.
Yeah.
Where all leopards hang out.
Cats hate water. I don't get it.
Right? Tom Leppard was a recluse living in Scotland, known as the Leopard Man of the Isle of Skye, because his entire body was tattooed with leopard spots. She wrote to Tom, and they corresponded about their mutual hatred for society. It's a wonderful thing to bond over. When the hotel Manuela worked at closed for the winter, she decided to ask Tom if she could live with him.
God, you know what I hate? Leopards. That was their last
I
letter.
hate people, but I hate leopards more than people even. He said yes, and she moved into a small hut by a remote lake, but the relationship didn't last long. Of course, you have never met each other, and you're just going to basically live in a tent, like a 5x5 tent or something.
And he's covered in spots. You probably wake up every night like, "Well, there's a cat in my thing." Oh, it's just Tom.
Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. He was almost 3 times her age, and the pair had trouble living in such close quarters, so she returned to Germany near where she grew up. Yeah, he was 60, I think, when they got together, and she was 21 or 22, if I remember correctly.
All right.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Age ain't nothing but a number.
I guess. I learned a lot from Aaliyah.
Yeah.
So. Once back at home, she tried to connect to the local goth and vampire scenes online and through personal ads. Remember personal ads?
No.
I know you remember them because you used to read them to me from the California Swinger magazine.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
The nastiest personal ads you'll ever see.
Bring back California Swinger mag.
Just a bunch of people with little black bars across their eyes, like that hides their identity completely.
Yeah, when they have pictures, it's the greatest. Like it's always like some.
They all look like BTK.
Yeah, and they're all from Riverside.
Yes.
The Inland Empire.
Representing the IE in the lingerie. Yeah, personal ads show up a lot in this story, actually. Manuela would attend blood parties, rituals, and hang out at graveyards with her new friends. On Halloween 1999, Manuela participated in a ritual where she dedicated her soul to Satan and promised to serve him in the afterlife.
She could have just called him and told her that on her own time.
On my hell phone. One day, she was searching personal ads in a music magazine called Metal Hammer when she came across an ad placed by Daniel Ruda. The ad read, "Black-haired vampire seeks princess of darkness who despises everything and everybody and has bidden farewell to life.
Must hate cheese."
Right? Must love dogs. Nah, he's a cat person.
Yeah. Hers would be like, must be under 60, no spots allowed.
No purring in bed. She decided to respond and get to know Daniel a little better. Daniel had a lot in common with Manuela. He came from a middle-class family in a small German town and had reportedly been diagnosed with an unspecified personality disorder at a very young age.
I'm just imagining that her response to the ad was, I killed the princess, but I'll be your dark queen.
Right? Some real boss lady stuff.
Yeah,
right
that's
there. Boss. She looked like it, too. All those pictures. She's pretty intense. She doesn't look like a princess to me.
No, she ate the princess. That's not a fat joke. I just mean,
no, she just looks like, woof, intense.
I could see, she's definitely a biter, for sure.
Yes.
I could
yeah,
see
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Daniel recalls that from the age of 12, he had experienced a lust for blood and a craving for what he described as the metallic, salty taste. Where's my barf cauldron? In his late teens and early 20s, he had become involved in the neo-Nazi movement. Good guy. Exceptional character. Do you put that on a resume? Like, I'm a really good organizer. I'm a great promoter. I'm great at marketing, especially for hate movements.
I have killer boots.
Right? Are steel toe dress code appropriate or white laces? Okay, cool.
Only flats.
Wah, wah. He promoted and pushed the use of swastikas, saying that the shock value would impact parents and society. He would frequently give out free concert tickets to see neo-Nazi bands in hopes of converting people to the movement. Hey, you like these really angry bands? Maybe you like hating people too.
I would love to just be like, you like the Spice Girls? Come on, here's a free show.
Now you're a feminist.
Yeah.
Welcome. In 1998, he began working for the National Democratic Party of Germany, or the NPD. I don't know why they switched the letters, but okay, I'm down. He began canvassing for new members. The NPD is a far-right party that many neo-Nazis supported, but the government has since tried to outlaw the party. Daniel eventually lost interest in politics and the neo-Nazi movement, so he moved on to the black metal scene. He attended bite parties and began participating in satanic rituals. Daniel filed down his teeth to points like a vampire and formed a band called the Blood-Sucking Freaks. Get straight to the point, right? You know what you're coming in for, you know. His day job was as a car part salesman, but after hours he was attending black metal shows and worshiping Satan with his friends.
I wonder if the first EP they dropped was Suck It.
I wonder what it was like going to AutoZone and just like coming in and being like, hey, I need a battery for this model car. And then he just turns around, his teeth are glaring at you. Just like, I'd love to get that for you. The Dark Lord says it should be. Okay, man, I just really need a battery.
The Dark Lord says we're all out of that battery.
Can I interest you in some jumper cables instead? He's trying to like do some add-ons at the counter. Do you need any keychains with that?
How about a warranty?
Satan would really love it if you signed up for our club card. Oh my God.
Oh my God. That was funny.
That's what I like to imagine. Yeah. All the day jobs that people like this have.
At a Pinkberry.
Right? Just pouring your yogurt. Super goth. If you're goth, you just have to be serious all the time.
All the time. Yeah, there's no smiles.
Right? By 2000, Daniel had decided that in addition to the friends he had in the scene, he also wanted a girlfriend. He figured that a metal magazine was a good place to find a like-minded partner and placed the ad. Manuela responded, and the pair got to know each other. Before long, they decided to meet up and began hanging out every day.
Fucking. What?
Right? Going to Pound Town.
On behalf of Satan.
Taking it to the underworld.
I'll show you my Satan's alley. No? It's my belly button, you sick bitch. Wrong hole again.
Did you ever see the movie The Doom Generation?
Yes.
The one where he has
Rocky,
Jesus
right?
tattooed on his dick? And he's like, every time I fuck a girl, she can say she's had Jesus inside her. Remember that? Are you coming right now? It's real quiet.
We always get nowhere in Doom Generation. What's the one with Bruce McGowan? With the two guys and it's the hottest thing ever? Yep. Nowhere is the one with Ryan Felipe that goes down with a piece of chocolate.
He has a real douchebag face. I just can't get over him in like Cruel Intentions. Just basically the original bro duck face.
So fuckable. So fuckable.
I'm not saying it as a negative thing. I'm saying I love it.
But he does. Yeah, that pout, that fucking...
Yeah.
And those stupid curls, like the Justin Timberlake curls.
Everybody had those curls.
Damn.
What the fuck?
White boy perm.
It was all about the white boy perm in the 90s. That and a lot of denim.
Yeah.
Just like denim, just a Canadian tuxedo. Denim
Britney
on the top, denim on the bottom.
Yeah, Britney and Justin denim. Remember that?
Oof.
Back to death.
And now back to our regular scheduled program. More occult murders. They bonded over their hatred for the rest of society, their worship of Satan, and their vampire lifestyle. Daniel lost interest in his work, and both of them began isolating from their friends. They moved in together and kept a dark vampire apartment. They avoided sunlight, slept in a coffin, and decorated the apartment with candles and skulls. The couple worshipped Satan together and soon began performing animal sacrifices together as well. They took vacations to England and Scotland, where they attended rituals and vampire events.
Why can't animal sacrifices just be like stepping on a cockroach? Or an ant?
I get really grossed out by that too.
Yeah, you're doing a
Pretty
deed.
awful.
So it's like animal sacrifice aren't that bad.
They can just animal sacrifice things that are infestations. Like if you have a rat problem, they could be an exterminator.
Yeah. You could have a fucking all-day sacrifice with a thing of termites.
Right? It's the bee man.
Yeah.
It's animal sacrifice.
They could make money and be sacrificing animals.
They're just not thinking right.
Ugh.
We need to present them with a PowerPoint on how they can go for their goals.
They can be American and figure it out.
Right? They often hung out at cemeteries and would sometimes even sleep at graveyards together. Manuela recalls, "We slept on graves. One time we dug a grave and slept in that to feel how it was."
Did it feel stupid?
Yeah, it felt awful, dude. I could just answer that for you.
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's terrifying. I really don't like those challenges where they bury people alive. You know?
I didn't know that was a challenge. How stupid.
Well, I feel like that's a thing that on real world road rules challenges or like Survivor or shit like that they would make you do. Or what are Fear Factor?
Didn't dumbass David Blaine do something like that where he's like, I'm going to put myself in a box?
He's always, you know what? That fool's dead to me.
Or maybe it was Chris Angel. No, it was probably dumbass David Blaine or something.
Yeah, they're always doing stupid shit like that. But that terrifies me.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hell motherfucking no.
No.
The couple's bloodlust intensified, and they set their sights on sacrificing humans to Satan. A friend named Frank Lua recalls that he had a fight with Daniel and experienced his dark side firsthand. Daniel had become paranoid, combative, and narcissistic, which caused their disagreement to escalate. After the fight, he received a letter from Daniel. He called his friend a Judas, made threats, and enclosed a threatening picture of himself. In the picture, Daniel is hanging from the ceiling by metal hooks. He is covered in blood, and he is pointing 2 guns at the camera. The fight fizzled out, and Daniel turned his attention elsewhere. In early 2001, Daniel began having visions. He said he was instructed to marry Manuela and offer a sacrifice to Satan. In his visions, he was also commanded to incorporate sixes into his plan for the 666 mark of the beast. So on 6/6/2001, 26-year-old Daniel married 23-year-old Manuela in a small ceremony.
Which is stupid because he tried to do 666 and he's really just doing like root 66. There's no
Right,
extra
that's
six.
it.
Yeah.
The next 6, he'll come in later.
Yeah,
then you have to make up a 6 somewhere.
Yeah, you
like,
gotta wait
come on.
5 years. Like, if you want to do it, do it.
Don't half-ass that mark of the beast shit.
Yeah.
Satan does not appreciate that.
No. 66, oops.
We're going to try and get you the other 6, man, I promise. Over the next few weeks, they set out to find a suitable sacrifice for Satan. They decided on their 33-year-old friend, Frank Hackert, who they called Hacky. Hacky worked at a bakery, loved the Beatles, and was known as an outgoing guy. He was gregarious and extremely funny. Daniel and Manuela believed that Hacky would make a great court jester for Satan, so they devised a plan to lure in their friend for the sacrifice.
You know what I like better than a court jester? Edible arrangements.
Right? You can send me some flowers, some edibles.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck.
Send me a sex worker to just dome me up real quick.
Thank you. All better than killing some funny guy.
Right? On July 6th, exactly a month after their wedding, here's where the other 6 comes in.
Oh, shit.
They invited Frank over for a house party. Daniel picked up Frank and brought him to their house. Nobody else was there for the party, so they told Frank that maybe the others were running late. That's suspicious. Just run.
No. If I'm the only person at a party, no.
And you went out of your way. That's what struck me. You went out of your way to go pick me up out of anyone else. If this is a party and you're expecting whatever X amount of people, why would you go out of your way to pick me up? Tell my ass to take the bus or something.
I got a car.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something wrong with that. That's
Red
suspicious.
flags.
Yeah. The trio talked for a while, listened to music, and sat on the couch watching TV. Manuela said that eventually Daniel just stood up and she saw his eyes turn evil. He hit Frank in the head with a hammer, and Manuela screamed, "Stab him in the heart." Daniel grabbed a knife and stabbed him repeatedly. The two claimed that they could hear the devil commanding them during the murder. Daniel said he was in a state of euphoria during the attack, and Manuela says that the knife was glowing as well as Daniel's eyes. She says that there was an overwhelming presence in the room and that the room flickered as his soul came out. She took this flickering as a sign that Frank's soul was on its way down to Satan.
I call crazy person bullshit.
Right? Yeah. I also read that the hammer and the tactic that they were using was supposed to emulate the cover of the Cannibal Corpse.
Hammer smash face. I was reading that.
Yeah.
That's what I was like, oh shit.
They say that that's what they were trying to do because they hit him in a certain way and that was what it looked like on the cover. Mm-hmm. But who knows? They never confirmed that, but that was speculation.
Yeah. I feel like
since we talked about it before.
Yeah. I thought I saw him in one picture wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt.
Yeah, he has a bunch of band t-shirts. All the pictures of him are just different black metal bands and shit. Once he was dead, the Rudas burned him with cigarettes, hacked at his body with a machete, and carved a pentagram on him. They also cut his veins and drained his blood into small bowls, which they then drank from. Frank Hackert was stabbed a total of 66 times, again dropping another 6.
With a missing 6?
Oof. After the sacrifice, the couple prayed to Satan. Manuela recalls that after the initial excitement wore off, she felt disappointed. She believed that after the sacrifice, she would turn into a real vampire and was upset that the transition had not taken place.
Oh, it's all fake?
I know,
No
right?
way. Aww.
Your fake pretend world cosplay is not real?
Aww.
How shocking.
So sad.
After the murder, the pair was supposed to commit suicide, but instead they left the apartment and went on the run. Their plan was to keep themselves prepared for Satan's next commands. They bought a chainsaw, intending to go on a killing spree before suicide, but they waited for the devil's instructions.
Satan wants Funyuns. Possibly a squirt.
Satan's got a real hankering for a Slurpee. Pickles and ice cream, please. Oh, Satan. You're so silly. Give me some Eskimo kisses. 3 days after the murder, Manuela's mother received a letter from her in the mail. In the letter, Manuela wrote, "I am not of this world. I must liberate my soul from the mortal flesh." Her mother took this as a suicide note and went to the police to ask them to do a welfare check on her daughter. When the cops got to the couple's home on July 9th, all the shutters were closed, and nobody was home. Concerned for Manuela's safety, they entered the home to look for her. None of the lights in the house were working, and the apartment was pitch black. With the help of flashlights, the police observed blood spattered all over the bedroom walls. They found candles in a shrine formation, a collection of knives, an assortment of skulls, and a coffin in the living room.
Dude, that's terrifying. You're like, oh, I can't see anything. And then you
Right?
put a flashlight on, you're like, oh, God. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off.
No. Just running out. A bunch of police screaming like tiny 2-year-old girls. Like, they're like, did we go into a haunted house or something? Wait, is it October?
Remember in Ace Ventura 2 when he goes into the cave with the bats and he's like, they're in my hair. And they're just running out. That's how I would be.
In the bathroom, there were more skulls, scalpels stained with blood, removable vampire teeth, and colored contact lenses.
Losers.
I mean, it was
unacceptable.
2000. No. I'm trying to I shouldn't give them any leeway, but
No.
I'm like, back in the day, that was cool.
Those contacts ruin your corneas, okay?
I love you.
That's why they were taken
My
off the
resident
market.
science lady.
You can only get them at little Korean stores.
The search was a bit difficult because of the dark and the clutter, but eventually they found the body of Frank Hackert under a banner reading, "When Satan Lives."
Eventually they opened a window.
Right?
And let light in. Satan Lives? Wait, what was...
"When Satan Lives." It was Decide, a band
yeah.
reference. It was a song lyric. They found the body with a scalpel still sticking out of it. Detectives also found a list of names that they believed was a kill list. So the police set out on an urgent manhunt in the hopes that the couple would be unable to kill again. They caught up to the Rudas at a gas station and arrested them without incident.
Told you they were getting Funyuns.
Funyuns. Yep. The couple admitted to the crime, and both were charged with murder. Daniel told his lawyers that his goal was to achieve worldwide fame. He said that he wanted everyone to know him so he could be as famous as Charles Manson. Daniel believed that to achieve that level of infamy, he would have to kill, so that's what he did. The trial was a media circus, and the couple played up their satanic vampire image to the fullest. Before the trial, Manuela filed a request that the courtroom windows be blacked out because she was a vampire who was sensitive to sunlight. But her request was denied. I hope they laughed at her in court.
So hard. No. Here's some sunscreen, though.
Right?
She was allowed to wear sunglasses, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead, the judge said she was allowed to wear sunglasses throughout the trial.
Can't believe they gave her that.
Even then, she would appear to shrink away from the sun whenever she was in the sunlight. Both Daniel and Manuela had their teeth sharpened into fangs, and I also read that she had hers replaced with animal, like canine fangs. Weird.
Like with crazy glue? Or?
Yeah, I'm like, how? That doesn't even seem possible, but okay. Some of this I'm kind of like, is that like a exaggerated myth, urban legend type thing?
It's got to be expensive, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
They dressed in all black with many layers and goth accessories. They'd frequently do double horns with their hands, roll their eyes, stick out their tongues, and smile for cameras. Manuela grew her fingernails out to extremely long claws and shaved an upside-down cross into the side of her head. They showed no remorse throughout the trial and claimed that they were not guilty. Their defense of their actions was to claim that they were only vehicles for Satan to do his work. Manuela said, "It was not murder. Satan ordered us to. It simply had to be. If I kill a person with my car and half his bloody head is left on my bumper, it is not the car that goes to jail. It is the driver who is evil. I have nothing to repent because I did nothing wrong."
I was so furious when I read that because the car is an inanimate object. You are a fucking person
Totally
who has
not the
morals
same.
and values, and you should be able to make a decision. And by that logic, you're saying you're possessed, and you're all right now. So you're not fucking possessed. If you were possessed and crazy and all that, I could understand. Like, that would make more sense. Like, if you're actually, possessed. But you're not possessed. You're fake possessed. You fucking
He has a
poser.
moral compass. He has self-control. He's a human being.
You can do it. Don't ever compare yourself to a fucking car. Like, that what a terrible... and I really didn't like how they were going on about her appearance. Like, she filed her nails, when in reality, it's just a bomb-ass manicure. Like, I'm so mad because they look honestly, they look exactly the same length as yours. They're beautifully done, and they're almost, it's just, if your nails were green, they would look exactly the same. The one thing I liked was her manicure, and they were going on about how she sharpened them. No, she didn't do that. She had some little lady do that. Like no fucking way to do your own nails. I just thought it was annoying. Like, I don't know.
The prosecution and victim's family requested that the court sentence them to life, but the defense pointed to diminished responsibility and mental health challenges. The judge said this case was not about Satanism, but about a crime committed by two people with severe disorders. Nothing mystical or cult-like happened here, just a simple, base murder. Both were found to be insane and sentenced to a psychiatric facility instead of a regular prison. Daniel was sentenced to 15 years and Manuela was sentenced to 13 years. After sentencing, Daniel said, "May Satan remain with us always. This is just too stupid."
Didn't the judge say something? Because when they asked for life, they said they're humans, not monsters. I just thought that was weird. Like, he had a lot of sympathy for them, and I feel like that's very...
Yeah, I think he had a grasp on how emotionally disturbed and mentally ill they were and didn't want to give them a life sentence.
No. But I would think there would be no possibility of getting... It's not 13 to 15 and now you're allowed to get released. Like, you need constant care.
Yes.
Which, how can you ensure that they're going to get that? I mean, you could just miss things. Like, people are supposed to go to parole, meetings and stuff like that, but you could just take off and then go fucking kill people again. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a gamble.
Yeah, I guess it is. Maybe he saw potential in them rehabilitating themselves, and I just don't.
Yeah.
It makes me so mad.
Daniel Ruda remains in custody. He is a librarian in the psychiatric prison and will be up for parole soon. To prepare for his release, he has changed his name to David Wenger.
Wanker?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, it's a combo of wanker and wanger.
But it's like German, so they go Wanger.
Yes, exactly.
The W's are V's.
While incarcerated, he wrote a book explaining his innocence. In 2012, a woman came forward to allege that Daniel had requested that she help him kill Manuela. Daniel allegedly contacted the woman through a personal ad and asked her to get a job at Manuela's psychiatric facility so she could kill her. Another inmate at Daniel's facility claimed that Daniel had also told him of the plot. Daniel and his lawyers called the accusations false and untrue.
We know they're true because it's a personal ad. Who else is going to fucking put a personal ad up?
Daniel said the woman was delusional, and the man was just looking for attention. His lawyer said, "We want to show that he is not a dangerous man. In jail, he takes no drugs, drinks no alcohol. His mother, who is 75, visits him regularly. She has only one wish, to see her son free before she dies. He wants to rejoin society, find a wife, settle down, and have a family.
All three of those things don't make you rehabilitated.
Nope.
Not at all.
It's an inside job. The victim's mother, Doris Hackert, said, "I hope they don't let him out. I am not well. I'm psychiatrically shattered. I cry a lot. It would be a nightmare for me if they let him out." The charges have since been dropped and Daniel remains in custody. Manuela was released from prison in 2010 and got a divorce. She is under court order to have no contact with Daniel. Manuela changed her name, assumed a new identity, and has faded from the public eye. The end.
Ugh. Great story. Just hate those people.
Yeah.
Especially because they did it for attention. Like, how fucking selfish and narcissistic are you?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I read, because I didn't really see it at first, but there was really no diagnosis given for either of them.
Yeah.
But one of the things that the judge had said was that they were just so severely narcissistic and that they needed to be reformed, basically, you know.
The pictures of them are great. They both have squiggly lines on their face. Hers are her eyebrows.
Right.
And his are on his head. I don't know what
that is either. It's like he's making a widow's peak.
Yeah. Or like, you know, when people would gel their
like
bangs.
Like a reverse widow's peak.
Yeah. And just gel their bangs back like against his head, but it was lines.
Oh, man. I remember that.
Yeah. That's not.
Yeah. Did you ever have friends that had like two little like that?
Did I have friends? That was me. That was me. I had the gels in front of my face, and then they would kind of hang in front of my eyes, and I'd be like, that's my all black phase, you know?
All right, dude, you want to play a game?
Oh, I sure do.
So this game for this week is called...
A. Just kidding. Did I win?
Just B's all the way down your Scantron. So today we're going to play Manson or Florida. So I have a list of things that I made into headlines, basically, and you get to tell me whether it is a Charles Manson related fact or a news story that happened in Florida.
Wait, not Marilyn Manson?
No, next time we'll do Marilyn. There's a lot of crazy shit about him, too. So the first one is... Man attempts to kill a key witness by spiking their hamburger with acid. It wasn't a gator burger, by the way, if that makes a difference.
Ostrich. Well, I would say, I almost said Marilyn Manson. Manson would remind me of acid, right? But someone dosing someone else sounds like Florida, so I'm going to go with Florida. Lock it in.
That's Manson.
God damn it.
It's technically the Manson women who attempted to kill a key witness by luring them to a restaurant in Hawaii and then putting a bunch of acid in their burger.
What a bunch of idiots. You don't overdose on acid. You just go crazy.
And so after the last bite, one of the women just casually said, "Just imagine if there were 10 hits of acid on that."
Not funny.
Not cool, bro. So not cool.
It's like in Dumb and Dumber where he eats the burger with the chili, you know?
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that that would work. Or maybe it was just an intimidation tactic that they're like, see, we can get to you.
Yeah.
Sleep with one eye open or whatever. I don't know. Who knows what Manson's thinking? That's silly Manson.
I would scarf down that burger if you're like, imagine there's 10 hits of acid in there.
Just like, nom nom.
Keep them coming. Bottomless burgers.
The next one is man impersonates police officer to get free food.
Manson.
That's a great guess because of all the dumpster diving, but it's actually Florida.
God, I'm losing.
No. You're going to come back.
Turn it off. I don't want to play this.
So, man flashes his buttocks at an IHOP after impersonating a police officer to get free food. Matt Skida, 55-year-old man, this was not like a teenager, entered the IHOP around 1 a.m. Friday and told a server who asked if he had money, "No, but I'm a cop and I get free food." According to the police report obtained by Orlando Sentinel, he then threatened to beat up the IHOP server and shouted, "Hey, buddy," before dropping his pants and exposing his ass to the IHOP employee. There's just so much good Florida shit there.
Oh, man.
So many things. There's IHOP.
Yeah.
There's butt.
Yeah.
There's a police officer.
I would just get him a burger or whatever he wants. And then it's like, you're dumb for saying you're a cop because people spit in cops' food.
Right?
Oh, it's for a cop.
Oh, really? I'm going to put extra cum on that one. So, the next one. Man bites off neighbor's ear because he wouldn't give him a cigarette.
Florida.
You're right.
Yes. You got zombies and people that bite people.
CBS reports, I was helping a friend out and someone decided they wanted to take a chunk out of my ear.
Fucking Holyfield. No, just kidding.
Right? It's that Tyson bite.
Yeah, that Tyson bite.
It all started because I wouldn't give him a cigarette. He comes up, puts me in a bear hug, and next thing I know, he's biting my ear.
Well, sometimes you need a cigarette.
Right? Bad Nick Fitz over there. Apparently, they're neighbors. He's moving in, so he's got to get a restraining order against his neighbor, is what it sounds like.
Don't you fucking cross that lawn, bro.
Right? See the yellow lines in the middle of the street? You better stay on your half. Don't think about coming the other way and making a left into your driveway. I see you. Man hires a boring lawyer known to use the tactic of raising many objections and subjecting juries to long, drawn-out questioning of witnesses. Instead of the boring tactic working in his favor, the defendant becomes enraged, so he stood up and yelled, "You're making things worse." Long-winded. Sorry, that's not much of a headline.
Manson.
Yeah,
Yay!
you're right. I could have condensed that down and you would have known it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have. He got up and yelled, "You're making this worse."
Yeah, so he had hired a lawyer that used those tactics, that just drew things out, talked really slowly, asked a shit ton of questions, raised as many objections as possible. And he thought that tactic would work. But halfway through the trial, it really wasn't seeming to work. So he freaked out in the middle of the trial and yelled at his lawyer.
His nickname's Filibuster.
Right? I guess it worked for him in a bunch of cases, but not this one. And I guess it was partially just trying to annoy people into giving up.
That's exactly. Weird. Yeah, that would work.
His name is Irving Kanarek.
Kanarek?
Yes. With a K.
Cantarect?
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, I'll never hire that guy.
All right. Man goes on LSD-fueled naked rampage, bites girlfriend's finger.
This is hard. Again, throwing acid in there.
I know. I think I used a lot of acid ones because it could go either way.
You say Manson. Did he take a lot? Is that Manson?
That's Florida.
You got the acid and the zombie-ishness?
I know.
I can't. Tell me about it.
Palm Beach County Sheriff deputies arrested an 18-year-old Jupiter man after he allegedly went on a naked rampage inside a house while screaming that everyone in the home was going to die. Just like normal acid shit. Daniel Lanieve is facing several charges after he and his 17-year-old girlfriend each took 3 tabs of acid. As deputies continued to battle Lanieve, the 17-year-old girl ran over and pointed her finger at her boyfriend's face, and he allegedly reacted by biting down on the girl's finger, causing a laceration that required treatment at a hospital.
I don't want to victim blame.
Don't point your finger
ever
in the face
point
of
your
someone.
Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, just pro tip. That's not victim blaming. That's just like, you know, us druggies pro tip.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Not even to a sober person like that. Just enrages
that's just
me.
rude. Any way you slice it.
But I'm sorry.
But if you add LSD in there, just be careful. Point with caution.
It looked like a gummy worm. Okay.
Oh, no. A Hare Krishna prisoner attempts to kill another inmate by pouring paint thinner on him and lighting him on fire.
Ugh, Florida.
That's Manson.
Why? What is he? He's not Hare Krishna.
I know. I'm surprised. That's why I was like, oh, Hare Krishna did that?
Wait,
they're very peaceful, you know? On September 25th, 1984, while imprisoned at the California Medical Facility at Vacaville, Manson was severely burned by a fellow inmate who poured paint thinner on him and set him alight. The other prisoner, Jan Holmstrom, explained that Manson had objected to his Hare Krishna chants and had verbally threatened him. Despite suffering second and third degree burns over 20% of his body, Manson recovered from his injuries.
stop, drop, and roll. Oh my God, I would love to see that. That's awful. I would just love to see
There's just a bunch of people standing around just like, well, it's Manson. I don't want to put him out. Like,
should we like pat him off or who's got dirt?
Does anyone need to pee?
Take him on the yard, man. We got dirt out there. Stupid.
All right, next one. Famous racist finds out that his biological father was black.
Manson. Ding, ding, ding.
Nailed it.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I guess it was hard to trace back, and there's disputes about it, but there was a possibility, and Manson found out, and he was pretty upset by that.
We need that 23andMe, you know, the testing.
No.
You know about that?
Oh, like biological testing?
Yeah, where you do a swab.
Oh.
And they did that to like some white supremacist, and he found out he was like partly from Africa, even though everyone's from Africa. But yeah, and he was like, no.
Yeah, that's what happened to Manson.
Yeah. Good times.
Manson problems. All right, next one. Man attempts to start a race war near the Disney theme park.
Fuck, that's tough. Manson's a racist. There's a Disney
that wanted
World
a race war.
that wanted a race war, but there also is a Disney World in Florida. So I'm gonna go Florida.
You are correct.
Oh,
See?
come
now
back.
You're on a roll.
Woo! I mean, I like this game now.
On a rural compound just 11 miles from Disney World, Marcus Fela and his followers spent years stockpiling weapons, food, erecting barbed wire, and conducting elaborate paramilitary drills. Their goal, according to federal agents, was igniting a race war in Central Florida.
People gotta stop watching The Walking Dead, dude. I feel like everyone's stockpiling and getting ready.
It's true. Everyone's a prepper. Floridians are especially susceptible.
Other races, zombies, same type of thing.
Yeah,
they're still
totally.
same prep.
Mother sells her son for a pitcher of beer to a childless waitress.
Manson.
You're good at the Manson facts.
Nobody loves Manson.
Again, I mean, some of these are they're disputed because Manson said that this happened. His mother said that it didn't. But if you were a mom that did that, would you really admit it?
Why would I admit it? Yeah.
So
it was actually 2 beers.
Right?
2 pitchers.
It was a pitcher and a half.
Yeah.
Like a half drunk pitcher.
Yeah. And a shot of whiskey.
Yeah. And he said that he was gone for a few days. His uncle came and got him a few days later. I mean, he had a whole story. And the other side of it is like, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he's a liar.
Yeah.
But also his mom had some issues, you know? So I don't know. It could go either way on that one. But it's a good Florida Manson story.
Yeah. Good trick.
All right. Man robs gas station with drawn-on beard.
Manson has a beard, so...
Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. When he was younger, he didn't. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life, but...
See what you're doing. Florida. Florida's that stupid. Yeah, of course. God.
So instead of grabbing a ski mask, someone in Pasco County robbed a Holiday Inn gas station. Wait, I just inserted the word in. A man robbed a Holiday gas station using drawn-on beard as a disguise.
I mean, pantyhose are cheaper in the
I know.
Like, huh?
It's weird. I don't get it. Wouldn't that draw more attention to yourself?
Yeah,
Just and be with a bunch of pen marks on your face.
I mean, and how did he choose the right cut? And how long until he was like, "That's it, I got it, it's perfect"? No
Did he
one
go
will
into a
recognize
barber and have him draw it on? Like, clean me up, fam.
You know, he goes to that liquor store all the time because, like,
Right?
he just
They're
didn't
like,
know you.
dude, Joe,
Yeah.
come on.
Are you Joe's brother?
All right. The next one. Man under arrest claims that the Beatles will call him.
Oh, Manson.
I know. That one's kind of obvious.
No, but
I was
that's
getting a little
good.
desperate. But
if you said Beach Boys, it would have been more obvious.
Right?
But I didn't know he thought the Beatles were going to call him.
Yeah, he really believed that. And even his followers were like, oh, Manson's really upset. He really thought that they were going to call him. Like, there was no possibility in his mind that that wouldn't happen.
I need that confidence, bro.
Me too.
How do I get that? No, the Beatles are going to call me. Paul McCartney any second.
Yeah, he's going to be on the line.
Yeah.
All right. Man claims prison is his real home and requests to remain incarcerated.
Manson.
You're right. See,
Yes.
you are on a roll.
Yes.
Comeback of the year.
Ah.
So at one point when he was incarcerated earlier, he requested permission to stay. He talked about it in 1981 on his interview with Tom Snyder. He was like in a softball league. He was playing baseball and croquet. Like he was in a drama club and he had all these like kind of extracurricular activities and was making friends, was learning how to play the guitar, like the whole fucking deal. And he said he felt at home in there and he didn't want to leave.
I mean, that's kind of a good thing because he's not really like, he's not trying to get people
trying
murdered.
to incite a race war.
Exactly. He's not trying to incite a race war. He's just playing some softball, hanging out and being cool, I guess. Whatever keeps Manson at bay,
Yeah, apparently while he was in this prison stint, he also learned about Scientology and became a level called Theta Clear.
Get him out.
The highest
He's gotta
ranking.
go. No.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, I don't know. He was being productive or something? I don't know.
Do you think Manson knows David Miscavige?
Who's that?
The head of Scientology. Same thing with like Tom Cruise and like the
I know who you're
crazy,
talking about.
awful.
I knew the name, but like hashtag drugs. So
he's a terrible person.
Oh yeah.
So I wonder if he crown or what do? They knight people. Maybe he knighted Manson into the Scientology Theta 1 crew.
Crew. Just got like a letter jacket. It's like Theta 1. Whose house?
Theta house.
All right. Man hands police his demo tape instead of an ID.
Gucci Mane.
Yep. Sounds plausible.
Manson. It's got to be Manson.
It's Florida.
Ah.
Yeah. 18-year-old
Voldemort?
I know, right? 18-year-old Volvic Louis Jean was pulled over for reckless driving, and when asked for his license, he presented his mixtape.
I don't want to listen to French rap.
I know, right?
Volvic?
Yeah.
Shit. You can't be mad at that, right? Like,
I mean, he's got a good hustle.
yeah. That could have been attempting to hurt an officer because he put fire in his hand. Drop that fire. I dropped a fire on a cop.
Wow. Oh, he's like, I said bars, not those kind of bars. Damn. Child given birth name No Name Maddox involved in ugly paternity suit.
Isn't that a Brangelina kid?
Yeah, I know.
Florida.
That's Manson.
His name is No Name Maddox?
His original birth name was No Name Maddox. And then later on, that's because his mother was Kathleen, and she couldn't decide on a name because she was a 16-year-old sex worker and kind of out of it for a little while. So she didn't have a name for him. And then by the time, a few days passed by and she gave him the name Charles Miles Maddox. And then when she got married, he took on the name Manson.
Okay.
Yep. And then later on, they had the paternity suit against his dad.
No Name Senior?
Right? All right. Local pimp bans books, watches, clocks, calendars, and glasses for all his girls.
Manson.
That is Manson. You notice.
How lame. How boring is that? It's like,
I know.
Here, all you can do is suck a dick all day. Suck my dick all day.
It's so crazy. And I tried to find some reports of accidents they had, like, because they couldn't wear glasses, they were like clumsy or something broke or something happened. But I really couldn't find anything other than the fact that someone left a pair of glasses at the Tate murder scene, but I don't think they ever matched it to anybody. So someone was like sneaking their pair of glasses, one of the Manson girls, and then just left it at the scene of the crime. But I guess I don't know, they couldn't find who it was.
How pissed was Charles Manson? Like,
I know, right?
Which one of you guys broke the cardinal rule? Said no
You're
glasses.
not supposed to see.
Yeah.
And he gave the excuse that he wanted them some bullshit about seeing the world as it is and your natural vision, your natural sight is the way you're supposed to see the world or some bullshit.
What?
So Manson.
I like my bitches blind.
Right? Like, what the fuck? All right, the next one is man uses pregnant woman as a shield in police raid.
Oh, gotta be Florida, right?
It is.
A pregnant woman?
Yes. I know. This one I put in there because I know that when Manson was captured, he let all his followers kind of be in the main room while he went and hid in this little cabinet thing. And so I was like, oh, well, that fits. It's just a little different.
Yeah.
But yes, this person used their 21-year-old girlfriend as a shield, like pushed her in front of him during a police raid, and she got shot. Yeah.
Well, that relationship's
really
over.
Fucked up story.
Wait, did she die?
Yeah.
No. Oh my God.
I know. I contemplated including it, but we're a murder podcast. So.
No, yeah, I got to hear this. I mean, it's hard, but Jesus.
Yeah. It was
what
so
a
terrible.
dick. Did he get shot at least once? Did he get shot in the kneecap?
Whole lot of nothing. He's totally fine.
Prison justice.
Yeah, her name was Alteria Woods.
Aw.
I know. And she was 4 months pregnant with his child. Poor little thing. Yeah.
Where's the barf cauldron?
I know.
Fuck.
I hate that. So, Florida.
Fucking Florida.
So the next one, local man gets kicked out of a bar while exclaiming, "I could kill you, I'm Jesus." Bar owner responds by saying, "Then I'm God, you lose."
Burn! Didn't Manson always go to that one bar and he'd always like hang out there? Like it was some
I
bar.
don't remember.
He was like,
I feel like you know more about Manson than I do.
I don't, but it's got to be Manson because he used to hang out at this one bar and do like open mic shit or whatever. I'm pretty sure. And then people be like, "This guy's fucking weird."
That's everywhere he went.
Yeah.
Except for his followers. That's
Yeah.
it. Everybody else was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
So Manson used to hang out at the Whiskey, which
Go-Go?
Yes.
Okay.
Coincidentally is where Sharon Tate met her future boyfriend, Jay Sebring, who was also at the house the night of the murders.
Yeah.
He went there one night, wanted an audition, wanted to get on stage, but insulted one of the waitresses. And so the owner was like, "Fuck you, get out. You're never coming back here." And Manson started getting into a verbal fight with him. And he was just like, no. And he had him escorted out and was like, "If you're Jesus, I'm God."
Fuck you. Get out, my child.
Right?
That's amazing. I like the whiskey a little bit more now that you said that.
I know, right? I think I like the Whiskey.
How hard is it to get on stage at the Whiskey? I feel like there's all like these tiny shitty bands. Not shitty, tiny bands. That's rude.
The Whiskey as it is today is way different than the Whiskey was before.
Yeah, had to
and a
been
lot
cool.
of the, lesser known bands that are playing there now may get their big break, but
Yeah.
that's what was going on back then, was like these really trend-setting, trailblazing bands were playing, and he wanted to be a part of that. But everybody knew he didn't have the talent,
Yeah, Sunset Boulevard was way different back in the day, right?
Oh, man.
Like all those, the Roxy,
Yeah.
Viper Room. Yeah. That's so cool.
Viper Room didn't come about until
Really?
late 80s, early 90s, because the Viper Room was owned by Johnny Depp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's where Joaquin Phoenix overdosed.
Yeah.
I said Joaquin. River Phoenix
River.
overdosed, but
Yeah.
Joaquin was there. It was Halloween. Yeah, so that didn't exist till later.
Oh, shit.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. The Rainbow Grill. Then.
We went to the Rainbow together.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that was your birthday.
Birthday.
So I like the Whiskey, and that makes me like it even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw Bridget the Midget last time I was at the Whiskey.
What?
I saw the Dickies play, and all of a sudden I'm like outside smoking, and I look to my left, and here comes Bridget the Midget waddling down the streets. Dressed to the nines. And then later on, when I went in and saw the set, she came up on stage and was like dancing with the Dickies.
She's so fuckable. It's annoying. Like,
She's so
she
fun.
is so pint-sized, put on your thigh, fuckable. Like, that's what those thigh strap-ons are made
Right?
for, was
They're
to
made for
bounce little
Bridget.
Bridget Midget on your lap.
She's wonderful. Anyway, that's my story about the
That was
Whiskey.
so good. Way better than mine.
Suspect uses neighbor's hose to clean themselves up after committing a murder down the street.
Has to be one of the Manson people. I feel like, because I remember they went to a neighbor's yard and used their hose. And didn't the neighbors see them or something?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So they went to the house of the Webbers. The husband comes outside and he's like, what the fuck are you hippies doing in my driveway? Because they're using his hose. And they respond, oh, we were just walking through the canyon and we thought we'd get a drink of water. And he's like, I see there's a car there. Is that your car? And they're like, hey, man, I just told you we're walking. And they got all combative with him.
No.
And he's like, I suggest you get in your car and you leave.
Yeah.
So they do. They get in their car. And he follows them over to their car and tries to like take the keys out of the ignition. And he was having trouble. Tex couldn't start the car for a second. And so he didn't know that he was actively fighting with people that just murdered someone, you know? And so they eventually got the car started and they pulled away, and he pulled his hand out of the window and the whole thing. But his wife was screaming in the background, get the license plate number. And so they saw it as they pulled away.
That's
and
awesome.
Eventually they gave it to the police.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If you see something, say something.
Yeah.
You know?
Who the fuck walks in the canyons?
Right?
That is so stupid. There is no walking sidewalk. So that's
hippies,
bullshit.
that's who.
Yeah. No fucking way would you catch me walking down one of those canyons.
All right. Man chews off his fingertips to avoid being fingerprinted.
Florida.
That's Florida.
Yeah, it has to be. Again,
And
zombies.
let me tell you, I may have accidentally watched the video of that.
Of him chewing it or after?
Chewing it?
Who's recording?
You can't fully see it, but it's part of the backseat police car video.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah. So you see him like bending down and actively doing it. It's so, just knowing that that's what was going on started to turn my stomach. So I turned it off after like 2 seconds. But apparently there's video of that. He was in the back of the cruiser and tried to chew his fingertips off.
Why does he not have handcuffs on?
He did. He was leaning like it.
Oh, he's he's a yogi.
Right?
Super flexible.
Like that kundalini on your ass.
That's crazy. He must have done some really bad shit.
I know. Yeah, let's see. He was carrying a fake ID, 3 fake credit cards, and a concealed weapon. And he already had 2 warrants out for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, he killed all the people who had those credit cards.
Right? So he knew he was going down for a long time. So he was willing to do whatever it takes. Yay, Florida.
Get it over with. I mean, prisons are overpopulated anyways. He'll be out pretty quick.
Right? Oh, man. So the last one. Man's ear removed with a sword after drug deal gone wrong.
There's drugs in Florida and drugs in Manson. Florida for the win.
All right, it's Manson.
God damn it, I lose. I'm going to go walk through that canyon right now.
No, I'm going to find a hose. So I don't know if you've heard the name Gary Heineman. He was the first person that they killed before going on to the Tate LaBianca murder spree.
Yes.
And he was a drug dealer, or at least had been involved in one drug deal where he sold mescaline to Bobby Beausoleil, but it was bad mescaline. So they went over to try and get revenge on him, as well as possibly get some money and stocks and bonds and shit that he had. So they were trying to extort him and threaten him and all that. And Manson comes over, takes a sword, hacks at his head, and almost completely severs his ear. And the Manson girls, after Manson left, come in with dental floss and just sew his ear back onto his face.
My first thought, and it's terrible, wouldn't you have to hold like a side of the ear out to do it? Like, how did he just...
I know.
I don't get it. Someone's holding that ear.
He's got some practice.
You got to pull it apart. There's no way he's not a fucking samurai, okay? He can't
know.
Kill Bill that shit.
I think it was just a lucky shot.
Oh, God. Because
Yeah.
wouldn't you think if he was hitting it, he'd take off part of the shoulder?
I know, or just, I don't know exactly the extent of the injury. I just know that there was a sword and there was an ear. Yeah.
And bad mescaline. Never saw anyone bad mescaline.
I mean, yeah. Mescaline never is associated with good stories.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Not in my experience. I think it's all pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I had one more down here, but I'm like, meh.
No?
Yeah, because it's too long. It's another one of those headlines, but I thought it was an interesting fact because there was a lawyer that was working for Manson and decided to drop Manson as a client and then start representing Leslie Van Houten instead.
Wow.
After he changed over to Leslie's case, he went missing during a camping trip. And months later, his body was found in the woods. And it's still a mystery what happened to him.
What?
Yeah. But like saying all that story would be too long for a headline.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it as one of the questions, but I was like, holy shit, I never knew that.
No, that's a good fact.
That's a Manson fact I never knew.
Yeah, no, someone killed him, right?
Right. After they were apprehended, I think people that were in the Manson family were definitely trying to take people out, you know, as far as the hamburger with acid and then this one, like,
that's nuts.
Yeah.
Good fun fact.
Right? I just thought that one was interesting.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it for this edition of Manson or Florida.
I love it. Florida's so fucked up.
Right? It's the craziest. We should move. So on that note, I think we're ready to do a couple reviews.
Oh, my favorite part.
So let's read a few of our iTunes reviews. The first one is from someone that is called Dreamwife. I mean, you gotta love that.
Yeah.
We love you. Dreamwife says that Murder Dictionary is one of the greatest podcasts out there and that we have great chemistry. She says Brianna finds stories that are different and intriguing, while Kelly says silly stuffs that make you literally laugh out loud. A must listen. So thank you to our dream wife, our brand new dream wife.
Now go make me a sandwich. I'm just kidding.
The next one is from Amity, who says it's a great mix of humor and info, always entertaining. Yay. Thank you very much to Amity.
Thanks, Amity.
And the last one is from Karen. Karen says this has become one of my favorite podcasts. She says, I like the style and format of your show. Very entertaining.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you so much to Karen. We appreciate you, Dreamwife, Amity, and Karen for your reviews this week.
Oh, thank you so
much. And
if
you haven't left a review, we would appreciate if you would go to iTunes and leave one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reviews never get old. It always feels amazing. So thanks.
I know, reviews are Kelly's favorite part, really first of all, and they help out, and it really makes us feel good. It brightens our day. We also wanted to say thank you on that note once again to Esther from Once Upon a Crime, Amber, James, Nikki, and Michael. So thanks again to you guys for pledging on Patreon. If you want the link to our Patreon for bonus episodes and merch, your True Crime and Chill condom, get them today, your stickers and your buttons. We have those on our Patreon, and the link is going to be in the show notes. We also have links to the research material that I used for this story tonight. So if you want to read up on those, go follow those links, as well as links to our social media. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is full of serial killer memes and follow up on some of the stories we cover, and some pictures of some goths that you may be interested in.
They're good pictures.
Right? If you need some eyebrow goals, definitely check that out.
Her like corset bustier thing that was like
she
metally. Yeah, it was pretty good.
A lot of studs.
I like those glasses too from the 90s, and then that like the lip liner and all that. Those eyebrows though. Crazy.
And also in the show notes, we will have links to resources for domestic violence, suicide hotlines, anti-bullying, child protective services, and a bunch of other things. If you need those, go ahead and check those out as well. And it's the end of the episode, so you don't have to check for timestamps for violence. It's probably a little too late for that, but don't forget that those are there if you need them, if you want to skip over the bloody parts of the story.
I'm going to beat Brianna right now, so...
So you may want to tune out. Press pause.
Beat the pussy up, beat the pussy up.
I'll act like I don't like it.
Oh, no, stop.
Don't. And I think that's pretty much it for this week. So thanks again for listening, and we will see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. True Crime and Chill?
True Crime and Chill.
Let's get in bed.
Good call on McDonald's for lunch.
Yeah, let's eat.
Okay, we have the oh yeah for me.
Can you hand me my
Yep, and here are a couple of woot-woots to share.
I love my woohoo!
Oh, sounds like Stacy went to McDonald's too.
For a limited time, grab a hot and spicy McChicken and small fries for just $3 at McDonald's. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with combo meal.
And now, a thought from Geico Motorcycle.
It took 15 minutes to take a spirit animal quiz online.
Please be the cheetah. Please be the cheetah.
And learn your animal isn't the cheetah, but the far less appealing blobfish.
Oh, come on.
To add insult to injury, you could have used those 15 blobfish minutes to switch your motorcycle insurance to Geico.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.